Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville Zoning Hearing Board meeting for June 3rd, 2020. I would ask that you all rise now for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. The flag is to the side. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Sharon, roll call, please.
Mr. Rosapel.
Here.
Mr. Grisiak.
Here.
Mr. D'Agostino.
Here.
Mr. Dice.
Here.
Mr. Weldon.
Here.
Okay. I'll now entertain a motion on the approval of minutes.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. The minutes have been approved. Okay, new business, Paul, if you would, please.
First item tonight is 20-5-A, Jessica Denzer. Applicant requested variance from section 210 fences of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a 6-foot tall fence in the front yard of the property that faces Forbes Road. The property address is 1842 Haymaker Road, tax parcel 861-E-221 in the S Conservancy zoning district.
Thank you. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Come forward, please, for, excuse me. Would you state your name?
Jessica Denzer?
Have you signed in?
No.
Go ahead, sign in.
Do you have a pen?
No.
Oh, okay.
Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Present your case.
So I'm looking for the 6-foot fence just to block out some of the noise and the privacy from the road. And we're not going to construct it on the property line. It's a little bit in, and it's actually up a hillside from where the road is. So it's not anywhere near the road. And I do have pictures showing that.
We have one on the screen right now. Okay, your fence is going to go all the way around from where we can see on the left?
So right along there, we were going to put a chain link fence, and the 6-foot fence is actually farther back into the yard behind those trees there.
Down Forbes Road.
Yes.
Is that all you have to present?
Yes.
There's some other pictures. They just switched.
Oh, we have a couple more pictures, Joe. You want to show them, please?
Maybe that's it.
Or not?
So how many pictures total do we have?
Two.
Two? Okay, let's just make sure that we put those in as a matter of record so that we know that we have those pictures. They'll be part of the record.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you may be seated, please. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything to bring forth on this case? Please come forward, sign in. Could you state your name, please?
My name is Attorney Mackenzie Grills. I represent Georgiana Galageza Woodhull.
I'm Jerome DeRiso, representing Mrs. Goodall.
I don't think we swear them in, do we? Do I need to swear them in?
Well, you're going to testify,
Are you going to testify or just present?
make an argument.
Making an argument, Your Honor.
Okay, then no.
Go ahead.
The portion where she wants to place the fence, we believe is partially on Ms. Goodall's property. The surveys doesn't set forth whose property is whose property. Huh? Dad, you want to?
Do you have this picture of the survey with you?
No, we do not have the most
All
current
right, how
survey.
about taking this and lay it right in the middle of your desk so we can have it up on the screen?
If you could sign in, please, sir. Okay, thank you.
Put it right on that, Mark.
You can take
Wait till
care
he gets a picture pulled up, and then you could point it out a little bit better for the audience.
Just so, where'd this picture come from?
This is the applicant's survey.
Okay.
It has to be in the middle.
All right, so let's make that part of the record as well.
Can you blow that up just a little bit more? Thank you. Okay.
Now, if you have a pencil or something, you can point to that.
Okay, the part of the property that we're talking about is right here. Our survey has, we had a survey done by Gateway Engineers, and it was repinned in 2019. We also have a fence permit for the same plot of property. So it's this area right here and down. It's my understanding that Ms. Cadenza is saying that she owns down to the street. That is improper. We have a property dispute going from the middle of Ms. Denzer's driveway all the way down to Forbes Road. We have pulled the deeds all the way back from 1948. And the 1948 deed is the correct deed for that property that now Ms. Denzer owns. There was an issue in 1966 where the deed is incorrect. Again, there was an issue in 2020. Mrs. Denzer's deed does not match any of the previous deeds and takes additional property from our clients. Again, as I stated, we do have a fence permit that was granted in January of this year based on a survey that we have from Gateway Engineers that covers the same portion of property.
Who applied for that fence permit?
Our client. And I have a copy if you need it. And I also brought a copy of our survey from Gateway Engineers.
You have a copy of the deed from, what was it, 19? Was it-
I have copies of all the deeds for you.
And this survey that we have that the client or the applicant submitted was dated what? November of 19?
November of 2019.
And if I may, I have a survey that was done for the property in 1965 for the previous owners, and it will explain where this property dispute is coming, if I can put that up on the screen.
Please do. Can I have mine back, please? So you don't,
Yes.
it doesn't disappear with your paperwork.
I don't want to take it from them.
All right, Jim, make sure Sharon gets a copy of that.
This one?
Yeah. Well, Paul, you have it.
We can, not a problem.
All right, now you're going to show us another survey that's from 1965?
This is from 1965, and I will show you the corrected survey first, and there is another survey that was done by the same person in 1965 that's uncorrected.
Okay, is that a copy for us?
Yes, I have a copy for you. Do you want me to bring it up right now?
Well, I just want to make sure when you're done, you just give them to Sharon.
Yes, I will make sure that Sharon gets copies of everything.
Label this original one as A?
What's that?
We're going to label this original one as A, the one
Yeah.
that was presented to us by the applicant?
Yeah, and then this will be B and C.
Okay, so if I'll point this out. This line that I'm tracing out now is the original property line that was in the original deed from 1948. In 1966, somehow they get this new line, and it doesn't add up to any of the prior deeds of record. And so the 1966 and the 2007 deed take this additional land that, according to our survey, belongs to our client. Our client's survey was based solely on deeds. The 2020 deed that I will also provide you a copy with expands the side and the property line on the Forbes Road side even further by about 300 and some extra feet in a radius. Again, we have no idea where this extra land is coming for except for just being taken by deed with no transfer. So at this point, we are requesting that not only the variance be denied, but the current fence permit be revoked until the property dispute can be settled in the Court of Common Pleas.
Those two surveys that you showed are done by the same company?
Correct.
Our surveys
Our survey.
are done by the same company. We don't know who did her survey.
No, I mean, the two you showed.
Yes,
They're
Your Honor, yes.
Yes. They were done both in 1965.
Two different ones.
Correct. They did a corrected survey.
So they're disputing their own survey.
No, they corrected it, basically. Yeah,
What
they
they
say
did-
we made a mistake.
What they did is they corrected it to include land that was included in the 1966 deed, but was not ever properly transferred. It was essentially a property grab back in 1966 that is just being discovered now.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have anything else to
I
add, Joe?
guess I have a question.
Yes.
Two questions. One, was that update survey that you showed, the corrected one, ever turned into the city? Or was it ever given to the other homeowner that Miss Jessica Denzer bought the house from? Did they have it?
I'm not sure if they had it. This survey is from 1965. We obtained it through different property disputes over the years. I have a copy for Ms. Denzer. I do not know if she ever had a copy. It was done on behalf of the previous homeowner's father. To put a little bit of history, this house was purchased in 1966 by John and Mary Visnick. When Mary Visnick died around 2007, John Visnick, the son, obtained the property through the estate. He is the one that sold the property in 2020. In addition, I think it's important to note that, and I have a copy of this as well, in 2008, Mr. John Visnick approached our client and wanted to purchase the piece of property that is now in dispute. A sales agreement was drafted. He backed out of it. It was never signed, but back in 2008, he was attempting to buy property that he transferred to Ms. Denzer via the deed in 2020.
Any further questions from the
How
board?
much property is left, are we talking about?
Well, the deed appears to take the property all the way down to Forbes Road. Our property line that we have in our survey cuts up right up the middle of the driveway. And apparently, the 2020 deed, from what we can see, is taking it from the middle of the driveway where our property line is all the way down to Forbes Road. And that is incorrect. It was never sold to anybody, it was never transferred.
The meets and bounds don't.
And the meets and bounds in the deeds do not match the previous deeds. The 1948 deed that I will produce to you is the correct deed for the property that Ms. Denzer owns. From 1948 to current, there has been several deeds that have contradicted the previous deeds.
Okay, do you have any more information to present?
No, that's it, and then I can hand this up to make sure that she gets
All right,
everything.
thank you. Is there
Don't
anybody,
sit on you.
I'm just handing this over. You're welcome.
This is the zoning hearing board.
Hi.
We have certain jurisdictional requirements that we have to meet. You can grant variances, you can grant special exceptions, and you can interpret the zoning ordinance. In this case, you're being asked to grant a variance. When an applicant makes application to you, Paul and the municipality take everything that the applicant submits to you as true. And you don't have the authority to decide who owns the property or who doesn't. All you do is you pass on an application that comes in based upon the representations made by the applicant, not someone who might be complaining. In this case, that's what the applicant has done, and she says she owns that area. She may not own it, but she says she does to us. Again, we don't have authority to say she doesn't. There is, however, an appeal not an appeal process, but two processes that any person aggrieved can use to remedy that situation. First, bring an action in trespass in the court of common pleas. Second, bring an action to quiet title in the court of common pleas. A judge has the authority to say, this survey's right, this survey's wrong. You don't have that luxury. So, I mean, that creates a problem for you. I don't know how you can pass on, I don't know how you say, I've not heard any testimony, and you guys bear me out here, that said that there's a lack of a hardship or something that deals with variance. Rather, we're talking strictly title. If that's the case, then I don't know how you sit and say now, okay, we're going to deny this because the surveys are wrong. Because again, you don't have that jurisdiction. Has there been an action to quiet title filed?
This just became an issue at the beginning of April. We were working with Scott from Red Swing and David Housley from Gateway Engineers. Also, we were dealing with the fact that the courts were closed until June 1st.
And I'll say this, if you grant this, and it turns out that the person aggrieved is correct, your actions are a nullity. Doesn't count. It's as if it never happened. Because once that's determined by a court, that's the end of it. That takes you out of it. You don't have that jurisdiction. There are cases on this. This happens this isn't a novel argument. No, I shouldn't say argument. It's not a novel situation that property owners dispute property lines, and oftentimes they find their way into zoning appeals. And that's the law in zoning. You just don't have anything to say about who owns it.
So Bruce, if we grant the request for variance to the applicant, and she builds the fence, and later it's disputed in court, she has to move the fence.
She builds on at her own risk. I mean, I would, this has nothing to do with the case. If I was certainly representing the applicant, I would be saying, you better be darn sure of what you're saying concerning that fence line and what property you own before you start construction, because if some court ends up agreeing with the applicant or the person's aggrieved, they're going to have to tear it down.
And there's counsel fees. They're going to have to pay a ton of expenses too, obviously.
What's that?
They're going to be charged with the various expenses incurred.
Well, I mean, those are the things the applicant has to decide, but that's not our decision. Right.
If I may say one
Sure.
more thing on this. I think the concern that I have is, we understand that you are not the proper jurisdiction to decide a property dispute.
Okay.
The issue that we are having is that 2 fence permits have been granted to 2 different individuals for the same property
Right.
line.
And in each case, we took the application as being true. Even if they're contradictory, that doesn't matter to us. It's when until somebody raises the question like you are, and it's decided by the Court of Common Pleas, we get applications in here for a zoning permit or something, and next month they change it and come in with another application. You know, I would suggest to you, the only way to get any relief here is to do what you're doing, and that is bring some sort of action to quiet the title. And again, the applicant has to be ready to defend that. If they're not, they better watch out.
So I guess, again, my point would be that I believe that you have, although you don't have the power to determine who the property owners are and where that property line is, I would believe that you have the power to revoke a fence permit that you have given prior to, now knowing that we have 2 fence permits with 2 different owners to the same property, even if that means revoking both fence permits at this time.
Well, number one, you've not come in with a claim like that, but if you did, to the municipality, I would think that the municipality would refer you back again to, we don't have a jurisdiction to decide that question. You get that decided by the Court of Common Pleas, and then we'll be glad to act on whatever it is your applications are. I mean, I've done this for more than 2 weeks, and I'm just telling you, that's the remedy.
So you have the authority to approve zoning permits, but you don't have the authority to revoke them?
When you say revoke,
You have,
we have to revoke it based upon your alleged allegations that the surveys are wrong, and we wouldn't be doing that.
what I'm saying is we have, Ms. Denzer has come in today and stated that she owns down to the
Her
street.
survey's right.
We have a fence permit for our client for a portion of property on the northeast corner of Haymaker and Forbes
Right.
Road. We're talking about the same exact property.
Right, and they're both mutually independent of one another. You're correct, this municipality and zoning hearing board could be put in a position where they approve both of them. But that doesn't solve, the issue is who owns the property. And that's what's gonna be dispositive of what happens. Again,
The court does.
we're not in a position, Paul doesn't have a survey license. We're not in a position where we're gonna sit around and read surveys and conclude one way or the other. There's no surveyor here tonight. But if there were, I'd be saying the same thing. So, I'm just telling you, without having some judge say it, we can't act on that. We take and there's cases, we take every application that comes in with the premise that the property owner is representing certain facts and circumstances, and we take them as true for purposes of this hearing.
Okay, I think we've made our position known and what our request is today.
Well,
Do you
that's
have
why we
anything
have
else to-
lawyers.
I'm sorry?
I said, that's why we have lawyers.
I understand what your position is, and,
Again, I've said it now 2 or 3 times. The applicant better be ready to defend this before they start building.
I agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
presentation.
I think the father wants to come up.
Before we make any motions or anything, Ms. Denzer, do you understand what Mr. Dice has just spoken?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is anybody else in the audience? Come on up.
I got the letter
Could you
about,
sign in, please?
okay.
State your name for the secretary.
Denise Nardozzi. I got the letter about this meeting the
Hold
other
on for a second.
day.
Hold on for a second.
Okay,
Go ahead, finish that.
okay.
She gets sworn in.
She will be, that's what I'm waiting for her to finish.
Oh, okay.
Would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the board shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay.
So I got the letter about this, and I just had a couple questions. I live at 1840 Haymaker Road, which is across Forbes Road from the Denzer family. And I was a little confused because it said they wanted to put up a solid fence in the front yard of their property. So I assumed the front yard was Haymaker Road from that picture you had. Forbes Road I thought was the side road. But anyway, my concern is not property dispute or anything like that, it's safety. We just had an accident there yesterday on that corner. I'm all for privacy. I would love to have a privacy fence around my yard. But it's a 5-way intersection. So people coming up Forbes Road and that are going to turn right onto Haymaker, if there's a large solid fence there, they're not going to be able to see Haymaker at all. And that's how these that accident happened yesterday. A car comes up and turns, they stop dead there to turn into Sunoco. Another car comes up and hits them. If there's a fence, then they're really a solid fence. I don't think they'll be able to see. And we've had many, many accidents of cars coming down Haymaker, losing their brakes, smashing into the new people's mailbox, I'd say 3 or 4 times within a year, the past 2 years ago, that they finally had to move the mailbox because it was on the corner, and they moved it up. And also, a tractor trailer came down there and lost its brakes. So if people are coming up and they can't see a car coming down without brakes, anybody in that intersection, I think, would be pretty bad, dangerous. So you had that picture, I also have the same picture you had. So I'm across the street, and now Port Authority has put the bus stop past my property, let the people off in my driveway. They don't cross the street, they come through my yard, by my car, by my porch. So it would be great for me to have a giant privacy fence, but I'm concerned about the traffic. I don't want to block anyone's vision in any way. So that was more my concern, more than anything else, the safety of it. But she mentioned a different fence, so it's not what was stated in this paper. She said a solid fence.
Okay.
She mentioned it was a chain link fence.
Yeah, that wasn't in this paper.
That's what is on the application.
Oh, okay.
For part of the fence.
Yeah, see, and I didn't see that when my concerns came up about the safety of it. Just the people being able to see, because people at that 5-way intersection, when they know the light's turning yellow, they hit the gas. They want to make those lights before anything. But that was my concern, the safety.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else in the audience?
Yeah, I would like to.
Come forward, please. You sign in, please.
Sir.
State your name for the secretary.
John Denzer. I am the applicant's father. I just wanted to
Hold on
provide
for a
some,
minute. I'm going to
I'm
swear
sorry.
you in as soon as
You're
you're
right.
done. Raise your right hand, please. You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the board shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so just for clarity, the portion of the area of fence, there's 3 pictures that my daughter took from Forbes Road. So the property she has, obviously it's a corner property, and I'm a professional fence installer by trade, so I'm well aware that you have to have 50%
You need
visibility.
to turn those around for
Oh,
us.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just
Let's
do,
do
you
one
do
at a
one
Just
time.
do one at a time,
One
they'll
time,
be able to
okay.
put it right in the middle on that
and
end.
the X.
Is that-
Move it over a little bit more. There you go,
That's
perfect.
good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm aware of the 50% visibility typically with corners.
What are we looking at on that picture?
So what you're looking at, this is a picture taken, directed from Forbes Road. This here is the back of my daughter's house. Okay, so this fence that we're talking about, the one we're requesting a variance for, will be constructed on top of that hill back from the intersection. The picture you guys have on file of the front, the solid fence doesn't even start till past the garage. It's by the survey that was provided to her by Red Swing, by the previous owner, she's not really her house is Haymaker. However, when you get served so far by this survey, she becomes the frontage on Forbes Road, which is when I called about requesting a permit, that's what I was told you weren't allowed to do in there. But being that the conditions are far away from the intersection and roughly a 10-foot elevation rise, the fence has no bearing on safety. So I just want that to be clear.
Hey,
Now put
John,
your next picture.
Yes, sir.
the survey that you have in the folder, can you put that on the excerpt?
Yeah,
for the
it's the
camera?
same one you have for the application. This survey was done by John Visnick, the previous owner. My daughter just purchased the property in February. So she's new to the whole deal. Here's a copy of the, which I'll give them. This is a copy of the deed that from Allegheny County, what's registered right now. I apologize if I butcher your name, I'm horrible with it. Miss Woodhull? She did approach us roughly a month ago. I was out spreading some gravel in the driveway. She said, you have a property dispute here. Then their lawyer sent us a letter about the variance. So we're new to all this. As far as we know, we did everything, we went through a title company, and we had a title search done. This was presented as part of the sale. This is a registered deed, which matches this survey.
Okay,
So-
is that a copy of the deed for us?
Yes, I'll give it to
Okay,
her.
so what you have is a deed. We'll make that an exhibit, Sharon. You'll take that. 3 pictures. Those will become part of the record as well. And it was a survey.
The survey
Which I
is the
thought
same one that was with
was
the
already-
applicant.
okay.
Package.
Those are 3 different exhibits?
I'm sorry?
Or those
Well, the survey we're already gonna
3
have.
pictures will be, let's make them 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, thank you.
And the deed can be 4.
So,
Okay.
Hey, John, getting back to the survey that's on the table,
Yes, sir.
can you point out the different sections and the
Yeah,
heights?
so here,
Give me a
We'll-
second, give me a second to get that up on the monitor.
okay. I'll use the pen, so my fat
There you
finger.
go.
I think it's up there.
All right, so this portion here is along the driveway.
Orient everybody first, where the
Okay,
intersection
so
is and where the
this
house
is
is.
Haymaker, this is Forbes,
Where's the Sunoco at?
the Sunoco's across the street. This is Mrs. Woodhull's property, which we do not dispute that she owns. It's clearly defined on this survey, okay? This is what we were told is the property line. This point right here is, well, here, let me go here. This is the back of my daughter's house, right here. So her intent is to come from the back of her house out roughly 20 feet, then turn heading towards Forbes to where this point is, and then construct the fence on top of the hill, nowhere near the road.
And what
No.
kind of fence is that?
This green was intended to be a chain link fence. This here was a privacy fence, which we feel by borough ordinance, we're allowed to construct a solid fence because it's bordering a property. She's not the corner lot in that position. And then once we get to that certain point where we become the frontage of Forbes Road, that's where we're requesting the variance to continue a privacy. And it's mainly because it's a busy intersection. I do not deny the 5-way intersection, a lot of traffic. It's very noisy. So she's just trying to get a little bit of security, a little bit of privacy, a little bit of noise reduction. So again, by what we're told, this is the property line. We're nowhere near the property line. We're constructing it within the property. That matches everything that came with her sale. So,
Sir, were there anything else on the other 2 pictures that we did not put up that?
There
was
again,
of interest?
so this is again the same. All right, again, here's the back of the house. The fence is gonna be constructed up on top of this hill. You see a van here, a truck. Obviously, we have a large, elevation change here, so I don't feel that it's a safety issue. If you actually put up your picture, the one you guys have on file, you could see the garage. We're nowhere near the main intersection.
Go
So,
with your pencil where that fence is gonna be, anywhere between the car and the truck there.
yeah, see the top of the bush
Yeah,
line?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the ground level. I actually have another picture, if you really want to see it, of being up on top where you don't even see the road.
So
Back
ba-
at the seat if you'd like to see it.
So basically, you put the fence up, you're not gonna be able to see those houses then?
Correct.
How far is it from the car on the street to where the fence is gonna be?
I would guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 feet from say edge of road. Yeah,
You want to display the other 2 pictures for? any-
yeah, so again, this is just another view of being down on Forbes Road. You got that light right there, I'm trying to get that light so it doesn't.
That fence will be on the other side
That
of the
fence
street.
is way up here.
Yeah.
On that hill. Okay, there's nothing, the property line actually comes down through about here, which is pinned. There's survey pins in the ground. So again, we had no, as far as we know, it was done by a professional surveying company, stamped by a professional registered surveyor. That's why we're.
The property disputes from like where your pin is to the road.
Yeah, well, I believe,
Maybe further up.
I'm not exactly
Further up.
sure what she's deeming. Like I said, if I put this back in here, we are not disputing that Ms. Woodhull owns from this line here to the corner. To be honest with you, it's actually labeled over here. This is a faded drawing, that it's her property. I didn't even really notice it. Being the father, I told him, you know, you have to maintain that, and they cut the grass over there. And, you know, I just assumed it was borough property with, you know, setbacks and easements and stuff for the road. But when she made us aware of it, you know, we then ceased to touch the property. I know they cut it and cut the grass there and everything, so we're not disputing she owns that.
But as you're coming up Forbes towards the Sunoco station, getting ready to, let's say, make a right on Haymaker, you can't see Haymaker right now because of the berm.
Correct.
Correct?
If you could pull up your picture, the picture you guys have on file you were showing earlier?
This one?
The photograph.
It's a,
Okay, so you see the garage door?
Yes.
The fence is gonna start at to the right of that garage door, go straight back that way, roughly 20 feet, then come out, it will be behind those bushes, and then go back from
It's
there.
not gonna be anywhere near this stuff on
Nothing,
the left
the only
side.
thing we talked about was possibly putting a chain link fence in the front here along the driveway, just to, more or less to establish a border. But that's, you know, even the other side of this plan that I'm showing you is, we're gonna close the yard in with the remainder with chain link. It's mainly to provide,
Well, let's not
Noise.
complicate the situation.
Yeah.
We know what you're asking for.
okay.
My, again, left-hand advice would be you better go back to your surveyor.
And since we've been made aware of it, sir, my daughter has retained a lawyer and he's
Okay.
looking into it and all that stuff. But on his advice, we were told just continue with the variance because one has nothing to do with the other.
Okay.
Okay. Anything further?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, you can give those exhibits to Sharon.
Yeah, so what all did, I know I told you the deed,
3 pictures.
3 pictures. Do you want another copy of the survey that I
No, we
have?
already
I have that.
Yeah, we already have that one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anybody else in the audience that wishes to testify?
Okay.
Anybody on the board have any further questions?
Paul, did we have anything, emails from any other residents?
just Miss Woodhall.
Mr. Dice, anything further?
No.
Paul, anything further?
That's it.
Okay, seeing no further, we'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Denied, or approved, I'm sorry. Congratulations. Okay, Paul, you would please?
Second item, 20-6-A, Teresa and James Krentz. Applicant requests a variance from section 210 fences of the Monroeville zoning ordinance number 1443 as amended to construct a 6-foot-tall chain link fence in the front yard of the property that faces Avers Creek Road. Property address is 1440 Avers Creek Road, tax parcel 1108-B-80 in the R2 one-family residential zoning district.
Okay, is the applicant present? Want to come forward, please? Sign in, please. State your name for the secretary.
Teresa Krentz, Krentz. My husband, James.
No, he's there.
Okay,
He's hiding.
He just moved on you.
okay, great. All right.
Okay, would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the board shall be the truth and whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Present your case.
Okay. Well, my husband and I have a couple of properties along Avers Creek Road, and we don't have many neighbors, and we are actually our own neighbors to this case. We sit down from the Sai Baba Temple, and our property runs along the road to where there are currently orange and white barriers because of the road falling through. And we have a nice little spot of property, but there's a lot of through traffic, a lot of noise. You have the application, I assume, from what was submitted that spoke to this. And we were looking for a variance to get a 6-foot chain link fence. We hope to put slats in it.
We would like some privacy. We're on display for anybody passing by. Once the trail went in and the biking path went in a few years ago, the traffic has seemed to escalate. We have a little break right now. If the road signs were turned a little better, around the right way, it'd be even better. But we do have a lot of traffic and we aren't able to enjoy our property. The only thing, what I did do when I submitted that, and I just put it up on my phone, I gave you a copy of the survey.
Take a look
And-
at the-
Yeah, that's the property. That's part of it. On the survey, I just had a yellow line highlighting from the house, the driveway, all the way through to the bend of the property, so that cars coming either way, we'd have some privacy and it would be occluded. What I did on my phone was, I aired, we actually want the fence to do a right angle from the edge of our deck to the road and then run the length of the property. And that would give us a little protection too when the grandchildren are in and keep them from having access to the road.
So is this an amendment to the,
Does she already have a variance for something?
No.
or you said you made a mistake when you made the application? You
Yeah.
did
Well,
the-
I highlighted and said it would be from the driveway over.
Paul, do you understand what she's saying?
Yes.
And you're aware that she's amending her application? In
We can,
effect.
we can adjust the exhibit tomorrow.
All right.
Shouldn't be an issue.
But you're okay with the amendment that she's proposing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just adding distance on the fence.
Actually, it's just taking it from the end of the driveway, bending it at
She
90
says yes,
degrees.
stop talking.
Okay, yes.
Go ahead. You done?
Okay, your
Per
husband's
his
here.
advice, yes.
Does Jim have anything he wants to add?
Other than, you know,
If you're
All right,
gonna
go
speak, you
forward.
need sworn in.
I signed his name just in
Okay,
case.
would you raise your right hand, please? You swear the testimony you're about to give in this matter before the board shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing is, you know, just with the privacy thing and the increased traffic, I mean, it's gotten to the point where there's a lot. I mean, and it's not just, you know, day traffic, it's weekend traffic now and all the rest of it. And plus, you know, we have 3 grandchildren and they're all small. And the biggest thing is I worry about, you know, because they run back there and that's, you know, that's their playground back there. So, you know, and to see them, you know, I mean, you know, going in other areas, and you miss them, you know, they get away quick, you know, so like I said, the fence would definitely would increase that, because we have the stream on the other side that they're not gonna get into, you know, and it's just along the roadway, you know, because of the traffic mainly, you know, just for the safety thing with them, and, you know, and plus, the biggest thing that I personally get upset about is I feel like I'm somebody's trash bin, you know, I mean, you should see it, you know, in the wintertime when all the growth goes away and that, you know, it's like.
I know
Yeah.
firsthand.
But other than that, that's basically, you know, other than that, and we want to put a chain link with, you know, with the slats in it, you know, so it's visible through it, you know, you can see, you know, 50% or whatever, you know.
Okay, Paul, just make sure that you've amended the application that shows what they're talking about here. I'm not sure this report and decision says that, but I'm going to take it at your word that we'll make sure those things marry up together.
Yeah, she just
We can do
didn't
that.
understand. She thought we were going
No,
to do
I
it from the
just-
front of the
I was
house, and I just want to continue it right off the back of the deck there and just draw the whole backyard, you know, into it. And so that they can't get
It's
through
just
past
putting
the
a
deck.
bend at the deck. to
You know,
make
because
it
if they can't get out to the street level in the front or anything like that, you know, once it's,
So why don't we do this? They can take action tonight. Next month, bring us a new sheet that shows if there's a need for one, after you talk with them. If there's a need to do another, not necessarily a hearing, but another adjudication, another report and decision, let us know.
Okay, not a problem.
I can send you the new image too.
Do we forego the chicken question? Or I forego
It will
that?
keep the chickens, it will keep the chickens in the yard. There's only 2 left right now. So.
we're down to 2, so they're,
No, it was brought up that
Humor
the
him.
chickens went all the way up to the temple.
They used to.
And I said that answered the long asked question, why did the chicken cross the road?
Well, to get over to the temple,
To the temple, okay.
trust me. We lost a few chickens, you know, because they were going, but the last two that we have, they seem to, I've hollered at them enough times that I think they understand not to go over there
They're
anymore.
missing their friends.
Okay, you have any board questions?
Anybody else?
No, I'll get to them.
Okay.
Anybody else in the audience have anything to say? No. Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
And nothing else from any other residents?
No correspondence.
No correspondence. I will make a motion to approve.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. The motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Seeing nothing else on the paperwork, I will entertain one final motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that motion.
Motion to adjourn. This meeting is adjourned.